Good Friday morning to you, everybody. Welcome to Sportsman's Warehouse in Columbia, South Carolina. We got fishing manager Craig Baird with us. Big weekend coming up at tournaments all over the region, Craig. It's September 23rd. Fall temperatures haven't quite hit yet. They're getting there, but it's a slow transition. Before we talk about the tournaments in the region this weekend, kicking off with the Big Bass Tour here on Lake Murray, let's talk about Brian Thrift's big win up on Norman last weekend. Went home with $75,000.
Yeah, $75,000 is a lot of cash, but I got to tell you, he earned every bit of it. So, he's just a really good guy, talented in his home lake. He just did exactly what he needed to do to win that money.
And he is a Sportsman's Warehouse pro, by the way.
Absolutely, we like that. Him and Anthony Gagliardi, both those guys are real good guys, and they represent Sportsman's Warehouse, and just proud to have them on the team.
Absolutely, two fantastic anglers. Congratulations to Brian.
Yeah.
All right, Big Bass Tour on Murray this weekend. We've got a BFL on Wiley this weekend, and then we've got a collegiate championship or regional up on Chickamauga in Tennessee. Let's start with the Big Bass Tour here on Murray.
Yeah.
You've been out some. Last week was great. This week the lake's totally changed. You're looking for a very tough 2 days.
Yeah, it's funny that this time of year is usually predictable with all the schooling fish. It's a little challenging. They're hot one day, cold the next. Sometimes you get into schools where there's several big ones cruising around. Sometimes you get into a giant school, a really small one. So very hit and miss. And we're talking about the transition time. Fall is really not here temperature-wise, but water-wise, yeah, it's acting like fall. So we're almost to that point where it's really going to pick up, and hopefully it's tomorrow and Sunday.
All right, now with that being said, there's a few go-to baits that, hey, you're probably going to have to empty the tackle box to get a kicker fish in the next 2 days.
Yep.
But if you got two that you definitely better have in that tackle box, what are they?
Yeah, everybody knows what I'm going to say. The Zoom Super Flukes. That thing, for whatever reason, is unbeatable. If you got fish on brush piles, fish on points, fish on cane piles, and anything you do, if you're throwing a Zoom Super Fluke, that is absolutely the number one thing that I would dare say everybody's going to throw. There's no secret to it. Everybody's doing it for years. This year is no exception. Like you say, you're going to have to empty the tackle box. Trying to find the big one, that's the trick, and that's the whole premise. But, Buckeye, mop jigs, I got a big stack of mop jigs in. They've been going out the door. So a lot of people are doing that. Football mop jigs, it's anybody's game, really. And this year is probably the hardest time I've seen for the big bass. But you never know. Tomorrow might change things. It's going to be sunny. Get this weather out of the way, so it might perk up, and they might be easier than I think.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you never know. It's always that's why they call it fishing, man. It's you got to be ready. Craig, we've also got a big event coming here mid to late October.
Yeah.
Sportsman's Warehouse pros Anthony Gagliardi and Thrift will be involved with that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's the Quest Pro Challenge, which is a unique format. There's a country music concert that's going to be paired up with it after the fact. But there's a lot of big guys, guys that don't directly end up in the spotlight all the time, or maybe haven't had the opportunity to have the spotlight put on them. All those guys are going to be mixed into it. Some big names, some not so big names. There's an invitational going on, I think, a week or two prior to that that'll earn you, the top two spots will earn you tickets, to play with the big boys. So yeah, it's a really cool event, and should be really good.
Absolutely. We'll have information on the tournaments page of anglerschannel.com for that event. And hey, good luck to you this weekend. You're fishing the Big Bass Tour. Congratulations to Sportsman's Warehouse pro Brian Thrift on his big win at Norman last weekend. And folks, don't forget, all this product that we show you each and every week, it's available 24/7 at sportsmanswarehouse.com. Craig, have a great weekend. Folks, be safe on the water. We'll see you next week.